You know, I'm very excited about the season. I generally have that kind of enthusiasm about me that generally that's the case when fall camp rolls around. But I really like this group. You know, they've been really somewhat special when you look at what they've done in the off season, and their spring ball, spring conditioning, summer conditioning leading up to fall camp. Dak is our new strength coach, and he's been very, very high on this group. Certainly he's been an assistant under Sonny here for many years. Sonny did a great job for us, and I know that Dak will certainly also do a great job. He's got a great deal of enthusiasm. Players really like him, so I think we'll be hitting on all cylinders there. So this is a group that I think has a lot of enthusiasm, has a lot of want to get it done type attitude. They've worked extremely hard in the weight room and summer conditioning, and so I'm pulling for these guys. You know, I hope that we're a football team that can remain somewhat healthy as we go through the season. I think we have maybe a little more depth at some positions than we've had for some years. I think that should help play out. But there's always a couple positions that are pretty critical, and those need to be filled with guys that really play well. And quarterback is one of those. You know, we have two returning quarterbacks with experience. I am hoping that they have really progressed from last year, learned from last year. That should be the case. We'll see as we go through fall camp how that works out. But they both have very, very good potential. And we have Quentin Maxwell as a young quarterback that's, I think, has got excellent potential, and he's going to get his chances also during fall camp and maybe early season. Joey Duckworth, our fourth quarterback right now, and we only have four, and so obviously we did recruit that position hard for next year. Have two commitments from quarterbacks that we think are really very good quarterbacks, so we should be able to fill that void. But the quarterback spot will be an important spot for us this year. We have running backs, we have receivers, and I really like both those groups. I really like our linemen, offensive linemen, but they're a young group, and after you get by the starters, but they have great potential. I think they'll have the ability to continue to develop and get better and better as the season goes on to give us good depth at that spot. You know, tight end, we have Troy Mangin coming back, who did not play at all last year really for us, and so we think he's going to be a great player for us at the tight end spot. And then we have some younger players there that are really coming along. So I think that will also be a solid position for us. On the defensive side of it, I think, again, we'll be a defense that can run. The void that we have to fill there is the cornerback spot. And you look at our corners from last year, our top three graduated, and that means that who's ever out there has limited to no experience. So how well and how fast they come along will determine an awful lot. Linebackers, our starting core, I wouldn't trade. They are an excellent group of linebackers. We have young linebackers also that are potentially very, very good, and so the backup spots to the linebacker position, I think we'll be able to fill with really very, very good athleticism, maybe not a great deal of experience. You know, if you look at the safeties, you know, Torrin Davis coming back, I think we'll be very strong there because we have guys that don't have a lot of experience but are really athletic, really tough kids, really good football players. So that hopefully will be good. Special teams, you know, new punter, new kicker, that's always an adventure, but I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we'll go more on fourth and short if we have to, you know. Obviously, that's not lacking confidence in our punters or kickers, because I think they'll be good, but they will be inexperienced, and I feel like maybe it's time to take a few more chances once we get across the 50-yard line. So you may see a little bit of that coming out of our offense this year. Not willing to settle for 3, but trying to get 7 on the board. Be glad to take any questions that you may have.
Coach, you talked about the quarterback position and the competition and battle there. It's not your first one. How have you structured this one to make sure that you get the best looks out of your guys to make a decision? And when would you like to make a decision as your starter?
Well, I would like it to unfold during fall camp to where that decision is made. Coach Isfording, our quarterback coach, has done a great job with those guys, and so I expect that we'll see improvement from their junior to senior season. How we're going about it is typically how we go about it every year. Obviously they spend a lot of time with Coach Isfording in meetings. They come up and watch a lot of film on their own. They're guys that I think have a strong will to get better and a want to get better, and they want to lead this football team. So the work ethic is there. What we got to get a little bit better at in some cases is the decision-making process with our guys. And I again expect that there'll be some improvement on that as we go through fall camp.
Do you expect to play both quarterbacks as you have in previous years?
I don't know that will necessarily be the case, but we will see. Obviously, if one of those guys just jumps out in fall camp and has a great fall camp and takes the lead, then he'll be our starter, and we'll go with him. If it looks like a situation where guys are pretty even and no one's really taking over the position, then we'll do what we have to in terms of continuing to go through the early part of the season and give guys some reps.
You mentioned taking chances past the 50-yard line. Obviously, you don't have that experience in special teams, but is some of that from more confidence in the offense, more confidence in the defense?
I knew I should have never said that, because that just opens the floodgates right there, But it does. I just like our group of athletes, and I think it's a season that if we're on top of our game and we get a break and not having too many injuries and guys play the way we believe they're capable of playing, I think it's time to just give them their best shot of getting it done at a very high level and see where we go. Now, obviously, you can't take a shot every time you get across the 50, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Coach Burrow in terms of blitzing maybe a little more. Now, he may not want to. It may not be what we're all about, but I'm okay with it. I think this year we just go for it and we see what happens.
Speaking of taking some chances and having some fun with it, Quinn Bowling obviously is the best linebacker in this league and one of the best in the country. So has he earned a little bit of the right to maybe a little free reign or maybe some improvisation on the field to see what he sees, or are you going to
he's so instinctive that we don't have to let him just improvise. I mean, he does the right things out there. He's got a little bit of a personality that allows him to improvise anyway. And in doing so, I think you saw it last year. Not only is he a great run stopper and can go sideline to sideline, but he's around the ball when it's in the air, and he's got excellent hands. Once he gets it, he goes. And so I don't want to pull the reins in on him, and that's not what we're all about on the defensive side of it. We'll continue to play him the way we have been playing him. We love the results, and we think he's primed to have a great season. I've been around over my career a lot of really good linebackers, but he matches up with those guys. with the best.
Also, you're returning a good portion of your wide receivers, but you're also bringing back some new ones. What does that mean for you as a team?
Well, it means that that we have really good depth there, and we'll be able to run whatever offensive formations we want to run. If we want 4 wideouts without a tight end there, we have the ability to do that with the number of quality receivers we have. But we do like our tight ends and the way they're coming, and so, you know, a tight end and 3 wideouts will be a part of it. But there'll also be a time for maybe 2 wideouts and you know, a couple backs in the backfield or 2 tight ends there to give us another look and to make sure that we're getting really some of our truly competitive guys chances on the field. And we don't want to limit those guys that have great potential and are tremendously competitive. We want to find a way to get them on the field by the use of different formations.
Lesser skill players are coming back. Does that make it more difficult, I think, for opponents now that we have more flexibility in that offense?
Yeah, I hope you know, in adding a formation or 2 that puts, you know, 2 or 3 backs on the field, being able to run 2 tight ends when we want to in our formations. I think that just makes them prepare for a lot more, and that's, you know, that's what you want to be about on the offensive end of it. You know, you want to score points, number 1, but obviously in trying to score points, it's a good situation to make them in practice defense a lot of different looks. But on the bottom line is you got to execute those looks.
Cornerback figured to be the most open position battle of camp. Are you getting closer to settling that out?
No, I don't think so. I think Coach Perkins is really doing a good job of evaluating the guys. He's making sure that they all get looks. You know, I think we have guys that are competitive there at the spot, and obviously that's a real key. We just, you know, and we're doing a lot of different things on offense right now. So our young corners are seeing a lot of different formations, a lot of different types of plays, and so they're getting exposed to a lot. So I think in the long run that'll end up helping them.
Kicker and punter, is that still going an ongoing thing, or is anybody broken free from the path?
Well, you know, we'll continue to evaluate those guys, but you know, when you lose your starting punter and you lose your starting kicker, you know, you just open things up. But obviously we have a couple guys that have had a fair amount of experience in terms of practice kicks and scrimmages, and that were with us this past year that certainly have the leg up in that spot. Leg up, yeah. That's
Also, in spring ball, you kind of had the mindset of reaching the depth that you have. What about fall camp? What's your mindset now?
the question. First part of the question was.
Spring ball, you kind of had the mindset that you had a lot of depth coming in.
Oh.
What's your mindset now?
Well, the mindset is still to develop depth. I think we got a good group of players that are returning starters for us and have a lot of playing time. But that group that doesn't have the playing time and are good athletes, we need to, as coaches, make sure we're bringing those along. You know, and how fast they come along will determine a lot. Obviously, we'll try to get some of those guys playing time in non-conference games, so that for our conference games, they have a little experience.
Any other questions, Coach?
Is there a word on your schedule?
You know, I think it'll be a challenging schedule. You know, traveling to 2 Power 5 schools, you know, is always a challenge. Tennessee being, I think, in the top 10 in some polls. You know, Kansas. I think the people there like the coaches there, feel like improvement is happening there. I think they felt good about spring ball, and we'll see how that all works for them. But obviously, you know, they've got good athletes, and and they'll be coached well, so that'll be a huge challenge. And then Texas State and Garden Webb, are two schools that we just need to prepare well for and play our best ball. We've never felt like we could step on the field and just automatically win in a game. That's one thing I think that has allowed us to play at a pretty high level when we played teams that are, outside of our grouping.